Hello, everyone, and welcome to Back Chat. Welcome to Jaureguiberry, your yoga for scoliosis community. If you don't know me, if this is the first time you're seeing my face, my name is Jaureguiberry. I'm a yoga teacher and I specialize in yoga for scoliosis. But also I'm just generally very curious person. So I like chatting to people about scoliosis, about their journeys. I have scoliosis myself. And I'm usually I'm either bringing on experts who have got their specialities. Today, I'm actually going to be talking to Helen Gardner from the Scoliosis Association. And this is also, this is your chance to connect, really. So make sure you come and say hello in the chat. Let us know where you are, where you're from. If you've got any questions or not, I'm not doing a kind of an open Q&A today. We're going to do that next week. So save all your big questions for next week. Just make a note of them and then come and join me next week if you've got anything to ask. Because today I'm going to be asking Helen about her personal scoliosis story, and she has had spinal fusion as well, and then just learning a little bit about the work that they do at the Scoliosis Association. Good, lovely. So Laura is here. Lovely. She's saying, hi again, Christine from Chile, Buenos Aires. A lovely yoga class today. Yes, so Laura was in my 2 o'clock class, which is nice, and then coming straight after to Back Chat, which is fabulous. So if you ever would like to come to a live practice, it's great for anyone with scoliosis, with or without a spinal fusion. We're taking it easy. We're really focusing on awareness. We're focusing on the breath. So yes, you're more than welcome to join that. You can find the description, or you can find the link in the description. Good. So before I bring Helen on, I just wanted to mention one more thing. Those of you who are following me on Instagram, and it's jaureguiberry.scoliosis. If you're not already following me, make sure you do. I have teamed up with Caroline Friedman from the Scoliosis Handbook, and Emily Hale from Build Breathe. I always get it wrong. Sometimes I say Breathe Build, but it's Build Breathe, to run a fitness challenge for the next 6 days. So we're starting tomorrow, and there's going to be daily fitness prompts. So Emily is a Pilates teacher. Caroline is a personal trainer. I'm a yoga teacher. So you get a little bit of a variety. Both of those ladies have spinal fusion themselves. So you can rest assured all this will be fusion friendly as well, scoliosis friendly. And it's just a great way to kind of spice up your practice, get you on the mat, on the exercise mat, give you some motivation, and the best thing, there are some prizes to win as well. If you participate, if you comment underneath, if you share the posts and all of that, you can win a fabulous pair of yoga leggings, and we've got some personal sessions, online courses, and things like that as well that we're giving away. So make sure that you join for that, and all the details are on my Instagram. Jaureguiberry.scoliosis. But let me bring on Helen right now. There she is. So welcome, Helen. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with us, especially because I know that you have another job, a proper job. I want to say that. So you've got 2 big jobs. So yes, amazing that you can take the time to talk to us today. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to meet you.
Yes, lovely to meet you. Only just kind of connecting via Instagram so far. Good. So Vaishnav is saying, hi, Christine and Helen.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining in as well. Good. So why don't we kind of dive straight in, if you don't mind. I would love to hear about kind of your story, your journey with scoliosis. Kind of where did it all start, and how did you get to have a Harrington rod?
It started, I think 1995. I was 14 years old.
Right.
So it's quite a long time ago now, but I was actually trying on swimming costumes for our family summer holiday, and my sister noticed that my shoulder blade was sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
So she sort of said, "Oh, that's a bit weird." And I said, "Oh, I'm a teenager. Well, never mind. It doesn't matter." But then she told Mum, and we had a friend in the village who was a paediatric nurse. So she marched me down to see Kate, and she immediately did the forward bend test, which obviously I'd never heard of, but now is one of the most recognised ways of doing a quick check for scoliosis. And she said straight away, "You've got scoliosis, you need to go and get it checked out." So we saw the GP, and the GP referred us to a consultant, and that was it really. I was on the scoliosis journey without really having a clue what it was. Exactly. Never heard of it before. No idea. So I think it was all a bit of a blur. You go along with everybody else, until I got to the consultant and I saw the x-rays for the first time. And it was just, I suppose, bewilderment and shock. I had a double curvature, so it was effectively an S.
Yeah.
And I just sort of thought, how on earth is that in me, and how have I not known that that's in me? Blissfully unaware. And so, of course, he did lots of tests, and he explained what it was, and I just remember thinking, well, how on earth do you fix it? How, I didn't know this could happen in the first place, and how do you make it better? And he said because the curves were quite severe already, that really the only way to fix it would be fusion. So I think I left that appointment with my mum in just complete shock. I don't really remember what we spoke about, but it was just a really surreal experience. And we decided with the consultant that because I was still growing, that they would try a Boston brace for me. So I had to go back and get that casted, which was just a really strange experience. I don't know if you've seen anything on that before, but it was
absolutely.
The only way I can describe it is sort of being suspended on this scaffolding frame, and then they wrapped. Actually, it was lovely when they wrapped the warm plaster around, because that was quite relaxing.
Right.
But yeah, they obviously take a cast from under your armpits to just above your hips. And then it was created into this hard plastic corset, essentially, with Velcro straps across the front. I did get to pick what colour it was, which I picked blue. I mean, I don't really know. I know you can get really, really snazzy designs these days.
You can, yes.
But yeah, I just plucked blue out of thin air, and I don't know actually whether that was a great colour or not, to be honest. But so I had to go and get that fitted eventually, and it was really restrictive the first time I put it on, and he had to tighten it quite tight, obviously, because it's supposed to try and stabilize the curve. And I thought, God, I can't even breathe. It was just so limiting. And I was expected to wear that 23 hours a day, even at school. Exactly, straight into it, from nothing to having to sleep in it. And dress for school and move around school, and that was the worst part for me, because I suppose I was still trying to understand it all myself, and I felt like I couldn't talk to many people. I told a few really close friends, but I think I sort of thought, well, if I can't really make head nor tail of it, how do I expect other people to understand? And I thought, wearing this brace, you know what kids are like, and boys, you know, sort of bashing into each other in the corridors. And I thought, I don't want someone bashing into me and then feeling this hard plastic, and then, you know, sort of calling me names and being nasty. That's just what I thought would happen. So I tried it for a while at school, but in the end, it was quite a point of friction between me and my parents. I said, I can't wear it at school. It's just it's too distressing.
Yeah. And that's a lot of time, obviously, that you are.
Yes, yeah.
In school, isn't it?
I mean, I was quite disciplined outside of school. I wore it as soon as I got in, overnight. Whenever I wasn't at school, I wore it. But I think as well, we also sort of knew that really it wasn't going to do much for me.
Okay. So you kind of had this sense already that this probably wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
So you didn't really feel the need to commit to it.
Yeah, I suppose so. You know, he'd already said to us, you know, the curves are severe enough that really the only thing that's going to work is surgery.
So just before we kind of get into the surgery part, because I think that's always, you know, this is always good to hear this for younger people, especially who might be in the situation right now. And from, you know, what I'm hearing, you say this was quite a quick thing, and I've heard this so many times that you go about your normal life and everything is fine, and then all of a sudden you're in this brace.
Yeah.
And then how do you deal with it, obviously? So is there something, like, from your perspective right now, that you wish maybe your parents had? I mean, we don't want to blame any parents, obviously, but your teachers or your parents could have maybe helped you with to help you in this kind of school environment, to help you wear the brace and kind of accept it a little bit more? Or do you think that was kind of a lost cause?
I think for me, it was probably just a lost cause. I don't think anything would have made me feel happier. And of course, at 14, you're just becoming really self-aware. You're becoming maybe a bit more confident, a bit more independent, and to suddenly have something really restricting you, it was a real battle mentally. And you don't want to be different. You just don't want to be different from anybody else. And, you know, you don't want to have to worry about what can I wear to a party. You don't want to worry about any of that. And I think these days it's with the advent of all the social media and everything, support is much more accessible for people. They feel far less alone, and there is better awareness. I think, you know, my school, I'm sure I was probably the only person they'd ever come across with that situation. So it's difficult for them to know how best to deal with it. But I think the more people talk about it, and actually, for my part, I probably should have been more trusting in my own peers, that actually they would understand and they would
probably
they would care, you know. But it's hindsight is a wonderful thing.
No, absolutely. But you know, it's I think that's good for young people to hear, obviously, as well. And to maybe trust, and even if it's just one person to begin with, tell them about it, explain it to them, trust the person, see how they react. and then maybe another person, and then maybe another person. You don't have to like stand up in front of the class.
No.
Good.
No.
So how long did you wear the brace for?
So it was probably about I think it was about 14, 15 months, something like that.
Okay. Oh, so quite a long time, actually.
Yeah, quite a while.
Okay.
And then we edged nearer to my 16th birthday, and they sort of said it actually had got a little bit worse. The curves were a little bit larger. And so they said sort of now is the time to make the decision to either have surgery or not. And at the time, the option was have it now or never have it at all.
And
because
do you remember the Cobb angle that you had?
By the time I came for surgery, it was around, they were hovering around 60, I think it was. 60?
Yeah.
And my original diagnosis was, I think, 50.
Okay.
Off the top of my head. So it had progressed. I'd not really experienced much pain with it though either. So I was relatively lucky, I think, to be fair. I still felt, aside from the brace issue, I still felt I could do everything normally like everybody else. But yeah, the option was it's now or never, because at the time they didn't really offer surgery on older patients.
Right.
It wasn't, I don't think it was really a routine sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a heavy decision to have to make when you're 15, whether you want to have a major surgery with risks of paralysis and all sorts of other things, or not. And obviously, you know, really, no one's ever going to say, I want to have that done. I want to risk that. But for me, it was about giving myself the best possible chance of a good future. You know, they said it could still obviously progress.
Yeah.
Which in turn could then give you other complications. And I thought, I don't think I want to go through life feeling like I'm going to have another issue, or that there's a shadow just following me around. I thought I just wanted it done. I wanted it fixed, and I wanted to be over it.
Over with, yes.
Yeah.
And was it quite... was it very visible? Was that something that bothered you as well with the scoliosis, or was it purely about obviously not wanting that it kind of gets worse and that causes you other problems?
I think once we knew it was there, we could then see it, if that makes sense. But certainly there's a photo of me probably only about 3 weeks before I had the surgery, and you can really, really see how crooked I was at that point. And I think I'd maybe sort of blocked it from my mind, or, you know, I hadn't really appreciated how crooked actually I looked until I look at that photo. Yeah. And so I think it was a mixture of not wanting the complications, but also you just want to feel like everybody else, whatever you think normal is. You just want to, that's how you want to be. Yeah.
So take us back to I mean, this is a whole other, we could probably talk for hours about this, obviously. What goes on in somebody's head before they go into surgery, but let's go kind of straight into the kind of post surgery. So you had your surgery done.
Yeah.
How long kind of do you have to skip school? Did you have to did it take a long time to recover?
Actually, not too long. I was in hospital for 2 weeks, and then I had a an 8-week summer holiday. So I was able to use that 8 weeks to recover. And then I went back to school full time in the September. So, I mean, obviously the long-term recovery, you know, you have restrictions on sorts of sport and activity that you can do. But I was essentially back to a relatively normal routine after 8 weeks.
Okay. And what type of fusion is it? Where exactly is it?
So it's T3 to L2. So it's quite a long, yeah. And they sort of removed ribs and addressed the shoulder blade, and then I've got 2 rods.
Okay.
Fixed with all the screws and clips.
So that it's not actually a Harrington rod, is it?
It's 2. I don't think they've ever called it a Harrington rod.
No, I think those are the old style fusions. The Harrington rod is just one massive big thing.
Yeah. I think that was just before I had mine. I think they were using those. Yeah.
So we've got here Vaishnav asking, will spinal fusion ruin my flexibility? Is VBT better than fusion? Any? Well, let's talk about you first. How did it affect your flexibility?
Well, because it is quite a large section, I can bend from the waist, but I've really got no flexibility in my back at all. Right. So I can't, even though if I feel like I'm slouching, actually I'm not. So yeah, the flexibility in your back that's completely gone for me. I don't have any of that left. So I suppose in terms of the VBT, that's a much newer method, and that is precisely to give you that flexibility at the same time.
Yes.
Whether it's better or not is not something I can say. It's personal, I suppose, to everybody.
However, as far as I understand, just talking to a surgeon about this, it's a very limited amount of time that you can have it, isn't it? It's not for everyone.
No, I think it's when you're quite a bit younger, generally.
You have to still be growing, isn't it? Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you kind of grow into
it.
Kind of correct you on the way.
Yeah.
Rather than putting a rod in.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm sorry, I'm just
it's all right.
Checking the chat. Maria's asking, I'm so worried for my daughter who's 14. She has an S curve already 52 degrees. She's wearing a Boston brace.
So that's similar to me. I was obviously 14 when I started wearing mine with a similar size curve and the S shape. It's really difficult because I can only be honest with what my experience was. And I know it's not necessarily a comforting account, but I would far rather be honest than not, because it is a challenge, especially with adolescent girls as well. Obviously it affects mostly girls. And you are going through a really difficult period as it is when you're 14, with hormones and changing and all that sort of thing. So it is really, really difficult. So what I can say is to seek out that support and there is loads around, not just on the Scoliosis Association. There is lots of support these days. Lots of Instagram pages, social media pages of other youngsters sort of charting their journey. And I think that in itself, when I've seen discussions about it on other forums, that in itself seems to really just help people feel like, actually, this is okay. I don't need to be frightened. I don't need to be ashamed. And actually other people my age will understand, like we were saying before. And I think it's as much about support for parents as well as it is the child, because it must be really difficult watching your child go through something like that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, as Maria was saying, very, very hard to, I've got 2 children who are 7 and 8. So I am watching them and I am checking them. But I can imagine how difficult this is. And then, how do you make that decision? How do you make that decision to, have a brace or have surgery?
Exactly. It's a big thing. You don't want them to be going through it, but at the same time you want to do what's best for them. Yeah, it's hard.
Good. So how did you kind of so you had your surgery and all of that. How did you kind of get into this work with Scoliosis Association?
Well, I found them after I'd been discharged from hospital, so 3 years after I'd had my surgery. So I was essentially sort of recovered and back to normal, whatever normal is. So I can't even say how I found them. I came across them and I joined as a member initially, and then I felt like I wanted to just do more. And so I got in touch with the association, and they actually said that there was a regional representative who was retiring from her post, and would I like to take that on? So I jumped at the chance. And so I joined as a regional representative in 2007, I think it was. And my motivation for doing that was sort of twofold. A, to help raise awareness, not just amongst the general public, but actually amongst the education sector, and even some of the health sectors, GP surgeries. There's a real mixture of understanding and awareness of it, but also to help others on the same journey, because I do feel that sharing your experience and your story, hearing it from somebody who's actually been through it, can really help others, and it can help you as well, actually, to sort of reconcile it still, even though I'm 5 years on from surgery. It's with me every day. So
yes, and I think that's a really important thing to say, really, as well, that just with your surgery, that was not the end of the journey, was it? Even though we kind of stopped there, but it stays with you, as you say.
It does. Absolutely. Yeah, it's always there every day in some capacity. So I think I do my work with the association to help other people, and that's my motivation.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more about kind of I know the Scoliosis Association UK, or SAUK, as we call it, right? SAUK.
Much easier.
SAUK. I know it from, it's first of all, the first thing that kind of pops up if you're in the UK and you're Googling anything about scoliosis, it kind of pops up as a really great resource, I think, for information. I think the fact sheets and all of that, they're really, really good. They're brilliant. And actually, if you look on the NHS website, they just say, for scoliosis, just visit SAUK, because they've got everything. They've got everything, exactly, which is brilliant. And then obviously you've got the great magazine for members, which comes out quarterly, I think.
We get 2 a year.
Oh, 2 a year now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about what you guys do, and tell me.
So they are the only UK national support group for those with scoliosis. So anyone who's got a connection can be a member. So you can be a patient or a relative, or even a friend. But without being a member, you still get lots of benefits. As you say, the website is full of information. So even if you aren't in the UK, you can still access the website and access lots of information. It's all accredited and checked by health professionals as well. So all the information is absolutely up to date. There are obviously added benefits being a member, because you get access to the magazine, you get access to the forum on the website, which means you can connect with other people, and you can also be sort of put in contact by the association with people that are maybe in a similar situation or are in the same area as you, so that you can meet up and share stories. They obviously do a fair amount of fundraising, so they do have a fundraising fund, if you like. They do marathon, they get London Marathon places. Obviously lots of members do lots of fundraising throughout the year. They have recently been awarded a grant, which they've, in conjunction with the Royal College of General Practitioners, have developed an e-module for GPs to use to increase their awareness and their knowledge. So that's good. And they do also have a sister charity, which is the British Scoliosis Research Society.
Right.
And again, their mission is just to do lots of research into types of scoliosis, causes, treatment, all those sort of surrounding things. And the fundraising gets sort of split between the two, so they get an equal amount of funding. But it is a charity purely funded by donations and fundraising. They don't get any sort of standard government handouts or anything. So it's a small charity, but it does huge things, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. And I believe that Princess Eugenie is patron
she became
now.
our patron last year. So we've now have a royal patron, which is very exciting. Yes,
yeah, absolutely. So some of you guys watching might not know that she actually had a spinal fusion herself, didn't she?
Yeah, she did when she was younger. And there were lots of photos when she got married of her wedding dress, because you can see the scar at the back. Yeah,
so it's brilliant to have someone like that.
It is,
openly show it and talk about it, obviously, as well.
It is. It's amazing, and the support for the members as well is just, I mean, that's one of the biggest things, I think, with the charity. There's lots of information available, but because there's this whole network of regional representatives all across the UK, it means even though the charity essentially is quite small, we've got lots of arms everywhere. So everyone is not far away from somebody that can support them.
That can help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this month is Scoliosis Awareness Month, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, internationally, I think in the UK, it's only one day, isn't it?
Generally on the ISAD, isn't it? On the Saturday.
ISAD, yes.
ISAD.
I know. I was seeing that. I saw lots of people using this hashtag on Instagram, and I was like, what is ISAD?
Yeah. Yeah. Although although it is International Scoliosis Awareness Day, so I don't know how international the day is. But
right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But for you guys, it's the month of June, I think, that you're doing. Is there anything special going on at the moment? Do you have anything?
So there's the theme of the month this year is backing scoliosis, and it's really about sharing a positive message to as many people as you can about scoliosis. So whether it's telling your own story, sharing your experience, talking about the charity, talking about scoliosis, it's just about getting out there and letting people know as much as you can. And there's lots of fundraising things. Lots of members do little specific fundraising
in their specific areas.
Or generally just throughout the year, that they're busy throughout the year doing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just checking here. So I've got Katie who's saying she's got mild scoliosis, but having lots of discomfort in her back, which cannot be explained. So is there something? So she's obviously not kind of worried about having to have surgery. It might not be a huge curve. Is there anything that you could kind of advise, or what would you suggest?
So a lot of people do say they've got mild scoliosis but experience quite a lot of pain. And I've heard a lot of people say using TENS machines really, really helps with the pain. And I think a lot of people say that things like yoga and Pilates really help with the pain, because I think it helps. You'll obviously know this far better than me, but it helps stabilize everything and strengthens the weaker areas. And people say that really, really helps. Obviously, a lot of people are reluctant to rely on pain medication.
Yes.
So it's finding something that works for you. A lot of people recommend swimming, but of course, at the minute, it's all been a little bit hit and miss or non-existent.
Everyone, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's various things you can try, and it's finding that one thing for you. But certainly TENS machine, I mean, that gets a real rave review.
Yeah.
And things like yoga and Pilates. Definitely.
Yes. And I think, I mean, it's always interesting, isn't it? There doesn't seem to be a direct correlation between the severity of the curvature and pain.
Yeah.
So some people have huge curves and no pain at all. And then some people have quite mild scoliosis and do have a lot of pain.
I mean, I had no pain whatsoever. And that was just a bit strange now, because I hear of so many people that do get so much pain.
Even though that's the older ones usually, isn't it?
Yeah.
You were probably too young, isn't it? I think it's, teenagers don't seem to have any pain generally, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe that's that. Maybe I am just getting old, though. I'm getting old now. In fact,
so do you have more pain now?
I do get more pain now, but I think that's an inevitability of being fused for so long, because my muscles in between sort of here and here just can't do anything. So everything, all the tension sits in my shoulders and my neck or on my lower back. So I've lived longer with fusion than I did without now, which is a bit of a weird statistic, but
yes. And that just really highlights as well that, okay, maybe I don't know how much they straightened your spine, obviously, but it's the whole body, right? The whole like connective tissue that is still, not balanced, obviously. Overall.
Yeah, I am still quite a bit crooked as well, actually. Yeah. So it didn't completely fix that, but I still feel I'm in a better position now than I would have been if I hadn't had the surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. So I'm going to take one more here. So Lydia is saying, I have an S curve, 3 curves.
3 curves.
All 3 curves are severe. Oh dear. I'm a woman now in my early 30s and seriously considering fusion, but worried I will lose mobility. Any thoughts?
It sounds a cliche, but it really is down to personal preference. And there are a lot of people these days having surgery in their 30s. And it is, it's a massive success. They're really pleased that they've gone for it, because they can really see the difference, and they feel like it's really improved. It's not always a cure for pain, and a lot of people say that, even though they had the surgery, they've still got severe pain. But certainly, I think it's about weighing up the pros and cons, I suppose, how your life is now without the surgery and how you how you feel the surgery could change your life. If you feel like that would be put you in a better position and a better quality of life, then it's something you have to weigh up. And of course, you will lose some ability with the fusion. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
But it's just deciding for you what you feel is going to give you that better quality of life. And again, I would encourage just finding lots and lots of support on forums and social media, because there's so many people now with that experience that can give you their side of it.
Yes, absolutely. And certainly when you're a member of SAUK, you get this whole list, isn't it, of people in your area as well, who you can talk to.
Yeah.
Who've gone through it. So I would get as much information as possible. Obviously,
definitely.
I would also speak to a few different surgeons.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. The surgeons are great, and they give you all of the statistics and the actual practicalities of what they're going to do, and then to get lots of different experience and advice from people that have actually experienced the surgery and at that sort of age or with that sort of curve. If you get enough of that information, then you can make a really informed decision. Yeah,
absolutely. Good. So thank you so much for your time, and it's been really, really interesting. How can we get involved? Maybe, there might be some people who think about, I quite fancy volunteering maybe, or donating. What's the best way to do that?
So you can donate through the website, and you can also, I would say, follow Scoliosis Association UK on Instagram and Facebook. They sort of advertise on there what sort of fundraising they're doing, or what sort of ideas there might be if you want to fundraise. They will advertise what their sort of current themes are, what sort of things they're doing. For example, that GP e-module package. So definitely, I would say follow them. There is a Facebook support group as well, which you can follow. And there's people, even though it's a small team, there are people in the charity that run a helpline, or you can email them with any fundraising ideas or any queries or anything like that. So there's lots of people there available.
Great, lovely. And I'm going to share all of the links as well in the description for everyone. Good, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank
Helen,
you. It's nice to meet you face to face.
Yes, lovely to meet you. All right, we're going to leave it at that, because Helen needs to get back to work. And next week we've got more of an open Q&A session as well. So I know that I didn't get to all the comments today, but I will be answering a little bit more questions next week. So make sure, you guys, that you check out our fitness challenge as well if you want to start exercising again. Maybe if you kind of stopped for a while and want to get back to it, that's a really, really great way. And yes, we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.